If you'd rather fight a bear than attend a crowded concert, relax. Your brain just saved you from something it understands far better than most people ever will. And no, you're not damaged. You're not antisocial. You're not too sensitive. You're just seeing something everyone else is too distracted to notice. Here's what actually happens. It's Saturday night. Bzzz, your phone buzzes. Hey, we're all going to this new place downtown. Super packed, but the vibe is insane. And instantly, your mood drops. Not because you hate fun, not because you hate people, but because your brain just ran a cost-benefit analysis and realized that vibe comes with psychological debt you'll be paying for days. That reaction isn't weakness, it's intelligence, and psychology explains exactly why. Most people walk into a crowded place and their brain does something helpful. It filters. It ignores background noise, deletes unnecessary faces, blurs conversations into static. Your brain doesn't do that. Psychologists call this sensory processing sensitivity. It means your nervous system takes in more information more deeply and processes it more thoroughly. Every sound, every movement, every shift in tone. Your brain isn't skimming reality. It's reading the footnotes. While others experience a crowd as energy, your brain experiences it as a flood of data with no off switch. Research suggests roughly 20% of people are wired this way. That means 1 in 5 people is walking around with a nervous system tuned to high definition in a low-resolution world. You're not overwhelmed because you're fragile. You're overwhelmed because you're paying attention. Thousands of years ago, this wiring kept humans alive. While others were distracted, your ancestors noticed the sound that didn't belong, the movement that was off, the pattern that meant danger. Today, there are no predators in crowds, but your nervous system doesn't know that. It still treats overstimulation as a threat. Modern society rewards people who can ignore their environment, but your brain was built to read it. Here's another misunderstanding. You don't hate people. You hate pretending. Crowds are full of masks. The "I'm having fun" mask. The "I'm listening" mask. The "everything's fine" mask. And you can see through all of them. Psychologists refer to this as high perceptual and emotional sensitivity. You don't just hear words. You register body language, micro-expressions, emotional tension. Your brain is constantly translating what people mean, not just what they say. That's exhausting. Not because you're judgmental, but because you're processing the truth underneath the noise. You'd rather have one honest conversation than 50 shallow ones. That's not social ineptitude. That's selectivity. This is where things get interesting. Most people associate crowds with reward. Their brains release dopamine, the chemical linked to excitement and novelty. Your brain? Not impressed. Introverted and solitude-preferring brains rely more on acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter associated with deep focus, reflection, internal clarity. You don't get energized by stimulation. You get energized by space, a quiet room, a solo walk, a moment where your thoughts can finish forming. Neuroscience has shown that people who prefer solitude often have increased activity in areas linked to planning, meaning-making, and complex thinking. When you look like you're doing nothing, your brain is actually doing a lot. Ever walk into a room and instantly feel something's off? That's not imagination. That's your mirror neuron system working overtime. You don't just observe emotions, you internalize them. In a crowded space, you're unconsciously absorbing anxiety, excitement, tension, stress. Your nervous system tries to regulate everyone at once. That's why 2 hours in a crowd can require 2 days of recovery. But this same trait also makes you highly empathetic, emotionally perceptive, deeply intuitive. You understand subtext. You sense what's unsaid. Most people barely understand their own emotions. You're picking up on everyone else's. Society equates loud with alive, busy with important, crowded with fulfilled. But you figured out something most people avoid. Silence isn't empty. It's where clarity lives. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's where you meet yourself without interference. You don't hate crowds because you're afraid of life. You avoid them because you know what drains you and what gives nothing back. That's not retreat. That's self-knowledge. So ask yourself honestly, do you hate crowded places, or do you just refuse to overwhelm your nervous system to meet someone else's idea of fun? There's a difference, and recognizing it changes everything. You're not broken. You're not boring. You're not antisocial. You're built for depth in a world obsessed with noise. And that's not something to fix. That's something to protect. So tell me, are you team crowds give me life, or team I'd rather befriend a cactus? Drop it in the comments. And if this felt uncomfortably accurate, hit subscribe. The next video dives into another misunderstood trait that will explain way too much about you.